Hey guys, this is me, Josh, and I've got a really cool drawing today. This is a sketch I did and watercolor painting of the boy wonder, Robin, and it's in the original costume of Dick Grayson. And I was wanting to do this one because I haven't seen a lot of drawings with that original Robin costume, and I know it's kind of cheesy with like the green underwear and stuff, but I'm a huge fan of those classic costumes. I love the blue Batman costume. I love the classic Robin costume, and I want to see more things like that. So I decided to draw that today, and right here you see I'm getting the figure drawn, and what I do is I draw that part of the body as just the body, and then I add what I want to on it. And when I'm doing that, I'm just really focusing on what it looks like and how it's going. When I was doing this, it's his right arm, but the left, if you're looking at the video. I was trying to want to make it come out a little bit, and I kind of did that, but I think I need to work on that a little more. Foreshortening is not my strong suit. So right here, we're going at an 8 times speed, and I'm sorry, I didn't know that was out of the video, but I'm drawing it and just trying to get a real good pose. I had a little rough draft that I did on a different sheet of paper, so I already knew the pose that I wanted to do. And I'm just working on the costume, working on his face. I wanted to give it kind of not a lot of details, and just kind of like focus on more of the colors. So it's more of a like a vector where you only have colors and there's no really like definition, but I still wanted it to look cool, but kind of like a nostalgic kind of thing. And so right here I'm redefining some stuff and working on the inks. And when I use the inks, I'm using a Pigra, Pigra. I'm using a Pigma Micron, and I'm using, I think it's the 0.5, which is a nice size. It's not, yeah, it's the 0.5. It's not too big, it's not too small, so you can still get nice little details, but you've got a thick edge if you go over it just twice. But I also use a different pens when I'm doing thicker lines. You'll see that later. But this was my first time doing watercolor in a really long time, so you see me laying down the inks first, and some people who know a lot about watercolor might be like, oh dude, that's stupid. And yeah, it definitely is. If you're gonna do watercolor for the first time, definitely do a sketch and get your details in so you know where you want those colors exactly. Lay down the watercolors and then ink over it, because you'll see what happens. But what really happens is you just don't see the lines anymore, which was thankful in some spots. Like this hand, I totally messed up on it, and tried to fix it, and it didn't work out too well, but then I covered it up with the watercolors and it looked a lot better. So I'm working on the second hand now, and I really need to work on my hands because they're not super solid. I always mess up on them. I always feel like I make the fingers way too small, so I got to be more conscious about that. Working on the calves and the underwear now. And I've got, you can see this napkin right under my left hand. And what I'm doing is, I didn't have that at the very beginning because I always forget to do it. But then I was drawing a part of, I think it was this cape, and I noticed a smudge, and I was like, ah, crap. I don't want to keep smudging it. So I just put that under my hand so I wouldn't smudge the ink. And now I'm placing some shading lines and finishing up that cape, and then I get started on the watercolors. And I'm sorry about this. you're about to see that, oh well, here I'm just adding in thicker lines, putting in some depth, and I go back and I do a little more, but I wish I did even more. Some things to know about Law Future and other drawings. Now you see the camera just really focused on the paper, and you're kind of able to see the texture of the paper. And I love watercolor textured paper because it adds a nice little texture that you don't get when you're just on dry medium paper, because you don't have to have it as thick. And it's just so much fun to work on textured paper. It adds so much more to the drawing. So here I'm starting with the watercolors, and you see me doing this red. I'm using a bigger brush. But something I learned when I was doing this is I switched to the smaller brush. And if you do smaller brush and less water, you can get a really thick color, which looks nice. And I'm sorry about the skip. I did not notice that the video ran out of space on my phone when I was recording it. I didn't notice until I already did all the shirt and some of the glove. So I fixed it and got back to it as soon as I could. But like you see, when I was talking about the watercolor, you can see in the hand and even in the underwear where you can't really see those lines anymore. So I go back at the end and refine those lines. And so I'm just really trying to have like a matte color, and I'm not super good at it, but I feel like I got better the longer that I did it. So I'm excited about trying more watercolors out and getting better at them, because some of my favorite artists do it, and I really like how it looks, and that's why they're my favorite artists. And I want to kind of replicate that and kind of pay respects to them by trying to show them through my own style that I like their style too. Like Todd Knock, he uses watercolors a lot, and a lot of other people. So Mike Mignola uses watercolors, and I just think it looks really cool. So I wanted to do that, but I wanted a really solid colors too, and it's taken me a while to figure out how to do that. And I think I got it. I think I can get a lot better at it, but I'm excited about where I can go with it. So here you see me adding in the skin tone, and I thought it would be too dark at first, but then I started doing it, and I found out I really liked it, because it added a nice contrast from the white paper. But I think here in the legs, definitely I could have gotten a bit darker. I go back to that big brush just because there's so much space, and I didn't want to take forever on doing it, but it still wasn't as dark as I liked it. And here I'm doing the face, and you can't see that. I'm sorry about that. I'll make sure to be more aware of where the camera is facing when I'm drawing later in future videos. You see me adding a little more in the leg because I didn't think it was dark enough, and I wish I spent a little more time on it, but I was in a crunch. I had to get to somewhere because I had a meeting, and so I didn't put as much shading in as I'd like to have. And I'm working on the face some more, and you totally can't see that, and I'm super sorry about that. Ooh. You can't see anything. I don't think you ever see me work on the face, but look, you can see a little skin tone in the neck. Look, ooh, finally went over to it. And now I'm working on the R, of course. I did the hair and the face. I wish I got that hair darker. It's too light for me. I put some, I was doing those black lines where I made it really thick, just with the watercolor, not even ink. So I went straight to shading in under his bicep a little bit to add a little dimension, but I wish I, of course, did more. And right here I'm using, I think it's actually a Pigma still, but it's a calligraphy pen, and it's got this like flat box edge. And I found out when I was trying to ink over this watercolor, the Pigma Micron was just not having it. I don't know what it is, but it just wouldn't write over the watercolor. So I switched to this one and it worked way better. And it also gives you nice line variation if you just use it, which I like a lot. So I kept with it. And I'm happy how the silhouette turned out. I really like it. Now I'm adding a little bit of white into the underwear and different places to be highlights. I kind of like that scaly look that he had in his classic suit, so I try to maintain that a bit in the underwear and the arms. And I guess it's not supposed to be scales because he's Robin. I guess they're supposed to be feathers, but that would be really weird to have feathers on your legs. That'd feel weird. Yeah, well, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. I'm gonna be trying to do these weekly, so check back in for some more. Thanks and bye.